What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. We got the Halloween Bastion here. We got the fresh update. We got Maria's fusion going on, and we have a upcoming summon rush in about 20 hours from now. And we got a little bit of news from Plarium about the upcoming weekend events. Now, if you guys have checked out my fusion calendar, make sure you guys do so. I'll leave a link in the description. Make sure you guys check out my fusion calendar, and we talk about the summon rush components for Maria's fusion in detail, and we also talk into what I'm going to do for this fusion. Now, we do have a summon rush coming up in 20 hours, like I said, and we do have some details for the weekend, so let's jump right into that and see what Plarium has in store for us. So here we go. We got a progressive event. Surprise, surprise. Any other additional event? No additional event that they were, dangling in front of us. It could have been 2x primals. That would have been really, really interesting if it was 2x primals basically forcing us to spend our our primals during a proper 2x primal event. Would have been interesting, but here we go. We got a 15x. We got some decent champions here. Nothing too crazy, but it looks like the milking continues. The milking continues, and this is perfect textbook Plarium play here, guys. We got Leonardo as they feature, progressive champion here for this upcoming weekend. This might be the last milking session for Plarium for Leonardo from a progressive event. Because again, make sure you guys check out the fusion calendar. There is a hero's path coming basically after this weekend. So right after this weekend, there is a hero's path, and this has to be it. They're just leaving it without much time left in the collab. The collab ends on the 13th of November. Leaving it until the last week doesn't really make much sense. If there's another hero's path after this week's heroes or next week's hero's path, it just seems too tight in terms of timing. So I think this is the right time for them to drop the Leonardo's hero's path here. But yeah, they're going to give us a, very friendly 15x progressive event for Leonardo this weekend. So one last milk job here for Leonardo coming from Void Shards. We also have Freya up for grabs for non-voids. We have Stultus. We have Wixwell. This is a big one as well for a lot of people, I think. Helicaf and Kyoku. So, decent champions, but not really champions that you really want to gun for progressive events outside of Wixwell. Wixwell might be the one that people will gun for because Wixwell is, a really, really critical champion for people's Titus teams. If you have Titus, but you don't have Wixwell, that is an absolute gut punch because Titus really does not work without Wixwell. Now, if you have Wixwell and you don't have Titus, Wixwell actually is a very serviceable champion in many areas. He can just be used to deal with a lot of different things. You don't necessarily need Titus for Wixwell to be great. Wixwell can, make clan boss teams. He can, participate in Hydra. But Titus really needs Wixwell. So I could see this progressive event being a bit of a draw for some people, but honestly, there's just not too much here in terms of the non-voids to really get you to open shards for this summon rush. I detail in my schedule plan that I will not be participating in this weekend summon rush and instead focusing my efforts on the hero's path coming next Tuesday. For the Void champions, we do have Leonardo, and that's going to be the biggest draw here. Make sure you guys are aware that potentially Leonardo could show up in the Hero's Path next Tuesday. It would feel really bad for you guys to spend hundreds of Void Shards chasing Leonardo this weekend when those Void Shards could have been put towards his Hero's Path, in a couple extra days from now. So obviously Leonardo from the Void Shards is going to be the biggest prize here. He's the best turtle. He works extremely well by himself, and he works even better with more turtles on the team. And we've shown in various videos, you guys can check out my turtle team videos, that together they are incredibly strong, giving players the capability to basically handle all content in the game. Outside of a few areas, but all four of the turtles together, they can do insane amounts of stuff. Multiple Leonardos can be insane as well. Yeah, he's going to be up for grabs for this weekend as a 15x. We also have Grazur Irongut. Grazur Irongut from the Ogren tribes, one of the best Ogren tribes, to be honest. He's very, very solid, does max AP damage, has good support abilities, AoE shield here. He has an AoE team heal. He has AoE buff extension, which is great. AoE provoke, AoE, and then team-wide increased resistance, increased defense, and a great passive. He's a great champion. Like I said, one of the best Ogren tribes. His damage scales off of max HP as well. And yeah, but honestly, not really a champion that you really gun for your Void Shards. So, he's going to pale in comparison compared to Leonardo in terms of overall interest. Lastly, we have Tohanarok from the Void Shards here. I mean, Tohanarok, you can get her for free. That's basically sums it up. She's a good champ, but you can basically get her for free if you're a new player nowadays. Increased defense plus speed. Block buffs, decrease attack. This debuff spread is interesting, and then she's got a decreased speed on her A1. Her passive is very, very solid. Basically, Doom Priest's passive, except better. Good base stats overall. But again, her interest is going to pale in comparison to Leonardo here. And none of the other non-void champions really generate much interest. I mean, Freya is solid. Freya is a solid champion. She's great. But if you've done Donatello recently, so the Donatello fusion, Donatello is basically Freya. In probably a slightly better way, because Donatello has the cooldown reset, whereas Freya brings you additional protection with the increased defense and big shields. Donatello brings you the cooldown reduction, which is something that it just provides that extra X factor for a lot of team comps. So I feel like Donatello's is a little bit better than Freya. But you can build Freya as a damage dealer, and she can actually pitch in some pretty good damage as well. So she is a threat offensively. Stultus, he's great for end game dragon teams. Stultus from the Bannerlords here, he's great. Throwing back the poisons and all that. Doesn't need books, doesn't need accuracy. Great champion for speed running dragon. But nowadays, for people that are efficiently farming dragon, they're kind of doing it with just Marius nowadays. They don't even need Stultus. So I feel like Stultus's day is kind of maybe numbered for like end game accounts. But obviously, if you don't have like a crazy juiced up 6-star Marius with crazy stats and all that, then Stultus is going to be very, very good for hard dragon. He just makes it so much easier against the boss. He reflects the poisons back, he reflects the weakens back, and like I said, no books, no accuracy needed for this ability to work. So it's really, really awesome. And then, like I said, the other champions are not very interesting. The biggest draw for the non-voids is going to be Wixwell. And honestly, that's about it. There's not really much to go over for this weekend's progressive. Just make sure that you guys are aware that there is going to be an upcoming Heroes Path, and that is something that you must be ready for. Even if you're not sure that's Leonardo, even if it's not Leonardo, you have to participate for 25 fragments in the Heroes Path if you want to continue going for Sanguine Maria. If you guys haven't checked out my showcase for Sanguine Maria, make sure you guys check out my showcase for her. I've showed her in relatively, realistic situations. I showed her in, good gear, good endgame gear, but she doesn't have like relics and she didn't use blessings. And in my showcase, she still performed extremely, extremely well. So obviously in other showcases or situations where she is juiced up to the gills with 6-star blessings, crazy relics and all that, she's going to hit absurd numbers, right? But like I said, make sure you guys check out that fusion calendar schedule that I came up with, where I said I'm going to full skip the first summon rush. So this first summon rush that's coming up, I'm going to full skip it. It's just not not a very important event, because you basically allocate the 25 points that you missed from the first weekend summon rush and then just put it into the Heroes Path instead. So then you just participate for 50 fragments in the Heroes Path instead. And it gives you a couple extra days to save up. And the Heroes Path also has a secondary component. It's not just shards, it's going to be shards and energy. So again, it gives you some flexibility there if you need it. Anyways, guys, so you're all caught up with the weekend progressive event news. Like I said, progressive events are worth skipping for right now. They're just not going to offer you any kind of, really noticeable boost for any of these champions. Non-void champions, although Wixwell is huge, the chance of you pulling Wixwell is, less than 5% chance if you pull a legendary. So you have a 6% chance of pulling a legendary from a Sacred Shard, and then you have a 5% chance of pulling Wixwell from that Sacred Shard. So the boost is just not, tangibly something that you can rely on. My biggest suggestion is just to think about shards as currency. Use the currency that you have to build towards something instead of just hopes and dreams and buying lottery tickets. So in this case, you can use your shards and build towards, for example, Leonardo, if it was Leonardo's Heroes Path, or you can use shards and build towards Sanguine Maria. I'm thinking about Sangrias. But you can use those shards to build towards Maria. So instead of using shards as lottery tickets and just trying to gamble for certain champions, which, usually don't come out, and usually just frustration comes out, use them as currency and kind of like you're paying towards a specific goal. Think about it that way. That might actually help some people out there. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. Does it make sense to skip the summon rush and focus on the hero's path that's coming 2 days after? Do you think this is going to be the last milking job for Leonardo? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching until the end, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.